So hoping both these teams bring everything they've got to the table. All right, and just waiting for Armchair Elitists.
See, yep, still waiting for the Armchair Elitists. Something awful is ready.
All right, here we go. So
Right.
something awful takes the first ban. KT, no surprise there.
Listen, the most basic thing that we've seen, KT. I mean, what do we expect to see here? Li Ming, Illidan. I mean, no
So,
surprises.
all right, so one thing you could do when you are the first pick, uh, because KT is at this point generally considered to be the meta mage. Li Ming is fallen out of favor. She's still strong, but not as strong as KT. So if your first pick, you could ban an Illidan or a Tracer or a Thrall, make the other team ban KT, and then you can have Li Ming, and they don't have a strong mage to respond. But if you don't want to go with the mage build, you absolutely don't want to let your opponents have KT for free, so banning them out first. If you want to focus on maybe a Thrall as your main damage dealer, still perfectly viable. Armchair Elitists taking some time here with their first ban, and they decided to go with Falstad.
Okay, all right. So they were worried about mobility. So they, in response to the ultimate damage that the OPKT can do, they decided to opt for getting rid of the damage from Falstad. And here we see it. Thrall. There's your damage. You were right, Esquire.
Yeah, not a surprise. Now, I'm curious if Armchair Elitists are going to take the Li Ming that's still on the table. At the Summer Championship, we did see her slip through to the fourth, fifth, sometimes late picks. Sometimes I believe there were games where she wasn't picked at all. As I said, she's fallen out of favor in some metas, some regions, on some maps. This one I don't think is one of them though. This I think we'll see Li Ming. Ooh,
Interesting. First pick Tassadar. Not something you see very often nowadays.
that is surprising. And here's what that Tassadar pick tells me. It's one of two things. Either and a Tracer to follow up. So unconventional picks.
Huh.
Tassadar is usually paired with a melee assassin like a Thrall or a
Sonya.
Sonya,
Sure.
right? Greymane even. So I don't know if they were picking Tassadar to take it away from something awful, so they didn't have Rhaegar Tassadar Thrall combo, which would have been huge, or if they wanted themselves. But something awful did take Rhaegar and Zool, nice round out combo. Let's see what Armchair Elitists is going to ban.
So far, something awful's stuck pretty heavily to the normal meta.
Yep.
Rhaegar, Zool, Thrall, all these fantastic picks currently in the state of heroes. And honestly, they make a great choice for Sky Temple.
Yeah, they're huge. And getting Zool and Thrall is very strong because Zool is in many ways a counter to Thrall. So taking him away from Armchair Elitists and not even having to use a ban to do it, very strong. Armchair Elitists again taking their time. They go with Muradin ban. Muradin's obviously one of the strongest tanks in the game, and Something Awful doesn't have their tank yet. Problem is, you've also banned him from yourself because some Armchair Elitist needs a tank as well.
Right. I mean, what do you think they're going to ban here? Are we thinking a tanker? I mean, their healer seems to be, to me, well, I mean, they've already got Tassadar with Kala's Embrace. He can essentially function as their support. I mean, what are you thinking that they're going to ban here? ETC?
So they do
Brightwing.
ban Brightwing.
Brightwing.
Banning a second, I would have expected Armchair Elitists to go double support. Taking away Brightwing is certainly helpful. They've already again taken Rhaegar off the table, so it does put Armchair Elitists in a bit of a rough spot, but lots of options. They could still go Medic. Malfurion has been seeing a lot of play lately, but they don't have a lot of time to make that decision. But what they are free to do is I definitely want to see him pick up a tank here. ETC, great
Okay.
choice.
Of course, you can't go wrong.
And probably another assassin before something awful takes away whatever it is that Armchair Elitists might want.
I mean, Sonya, Jaina, Li Ming, obviously.
Li Ming is. I think I'd like to see a Li Ming here. Works great with ETC because you can really do a lot of damage with the orb. Zool and
Armchair
Thrall.
Elitists. Armchair Elitists are keeping me on the seat of keeping me on the edge of my seat right now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm.
6 seconds, boys. What's happening?
Sylvanas. All right, it's a strong pick. They're hiding their last assassin.
Okay.
I hope. It's a very unconventional team, but actually, I take that back. If they round this out with the Sonya,
This is what.
Let's see, something awful all the time in the world. They need a tank. Murden's off the table. TC is off the table. Johanna is strong. Diablo could work very well in this composition with so many roots. He adds more crowd control.
I mean, we've basically got a huge front line right now with something awful. I mean, they could use something from the back to do a little poke here. I mean, frankly, nobody's taking Li Ming.
It's true. I keep forgetting. I keep assuming she's been taken, but Li Ming is open.
You know what? This is what the Chair League is about. Seeing people with some interesting combos, and anything could happen. Like we were saying, I mean, this is anything goes. We could be seeing all kinds of different interesting plays from these guys, and I'm really looking forward to see what this turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have loved to see a Li Ming on Armchair Elitists. I'd love to see it on something awful. Locking someone down with Zool.
There it is.
Followed by Thrall and Tronda's stun. But they don't have a tank, so they are, since they went double support, they are going to need to pick up a tank here. Maybe Johanna is good to stop the ETC ult. They could go with Sonya, not really a full tank, but a warrior in her own right, and she's got 2 supports to keep her alive. That would be an interesting pick. Diablo, as I said, definitely a viable option. Apocalypse will counter most moshes. There's Diablo.
There it is. Okay, we've got the Diablo-Tyrande combo already down, setting up maybe for an interesting gank squad with our boy Thrall or perhaps Zool.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting ways they could run that. Talk about that while the game loads, and I'm very curious how Armchair Elitists is going to round out their comp. I definitely think they need another damage dealer. Could be Jaina. Could be the infamous Li Ming, who is still in the game. As I said, she has fallen out of favor in some circles, but Chair League, you definitely still see her played a lot. And I'm not sure if that was a random or if it was a last-second pick.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, they're saying in chat that it's supposed to be Uther. I'm going to leave it to something awful.
Esquire, I don't know. I think this might be the moment where you.
I would say
as referee, maybe.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it's a time draft. Managing your time is a portion of it. They didn't. They ran out of time, and they wanted Uther. They picked Malfurion, but something awful is gonna let them go with Uther.
In the vein of sportsmanship. Very nice.
Yep, I'm glad to see it.
Good start, good start. This is what we like to see here in the Heroes community. Nothing toxic. We're noob friendly. We're happy friendly. We're good people. That's what I like to see.
Okay. So as the teams, let's make sure everybody takes the heroes they're supposed to take. So we've got on. I think you're right, Mass Knight. I think we're going to see a gank squad from something awful. That Diablo-Tyrande is since back in beta, that's always been a very strong composition, a very strong combo. Add to that a Zool with even more root, and you've really got a strong position. What I want to see here's what I want to see from the teams. I want to see Thrall solo lane. I think top is the lane that's farthest away from the others. So I want to see Thrall solo top, and the other 4 do a roaming, clearing, and gank squad. Or Thrall solo bottom, and the other 4 do a roaming gank squad. I think that could be very strong. Zool clears waves so quickly. There's so much slow from Rhaegar, root from Zool, stun from Tyrande, stun from Diablo. If anybody on Armchair Elitists gets out of position, it's going to be bad news bears.
I'm wondering if I wouldn't rather see Zool in the pushing the only lane. I mean, putting some extra pressure with his, fantastic pushing ability with his Raise Dead trait. If it makes more sense for him instead to do the pushing and then make the 4-man gank squad with using Thrall instead.
Okay, gonna start the game here. The reason I like Thrall as the solo laner is because of Zool's incredibly fast wave clear. He clears waves in a second. So to keep him in lane when he's clearing waves so fast is a waste of his full potential. Meanwhile, Thrall has decent wave clear, but more importantly, the self-sustain with his chain lightning and any melee hits he can get in to keep himself alive, keep himself healthy. He doesn't need anybody's help. And then you can have Zool push 2 lanes instead of just 1. And again, that root can really assist in the kill. Early game with Tyrande's Hunter's Mark, if they isolate a target, that target's going to die. They don't need Thrall's extra damage.
Although, I would note that they've got both Tracer and Tassadar. Tassadar the unkillable, if you build him right with his invincible escape. I mean, with the automatic escape that he can get a few levels later on, plus Tracer's recall ability. We've got some decent escapes from these two. I mean, this isn't a done deal.
That's true.
These two teams, I mean, we could see anything still.
That's absolutely true. And Sylvanas, I want to see her take the Unstoppable talent at, I believe it's 13, becomes an option. That's, I would say, a must on this against this team. I definitely want to see Uther take Cleanse. So let's say it's all going to come down, as Heroes of the Storm always does, to execution. Comps can only take you so far. As they stand right now, I think I like Something Awful's composition a little bit more, but if Armchair Elitists can pull off a Divine Mosh, putting that Divine Shield on ETC, and letting Tracer or Sylvanas get their work done, that's going to be huge.
So that's the only thing that I'd be worried about. I mean, no doubt that they've got the great ETC Uther combo available to them, but the damage follow-up during is going to rely mostly on Tracer and Sylvanas, and with Tracer, I get it. I would just be a little bit worried about the both of them being able to pump out enough damage to really maximize value out of, wasting two ults, essentially, with ETC's Divine Shield Mosh.
Yep, that's a fair point. That's there's a little-known hero. You don't see her too often. Her name's Li Ming, though. Li Ming, if she had been picked, is someone that could have followed up on that big ETC damage exactly like you're talking about. But a big Wailing Arrow from Sylvanas, spread the Black Arrow. Maybe they can't get a 5-team wipe, but if they just pick off 1 or 2 heroes from a good mosh, that's good.
Enough, sure.
That's good
You're
enough.
Right. It's possible. It's definitely possible.
And of course, the key for ETC is going to be picking up Diablo, Thrall, and Tyrande, if possible, getting them all in the mosh. Those are the ones that could stop him. Sunder, Apocalypse, or Tyrande's stun are going to be the big threats if they can't get the Divine Mosh off. But of course, there's always just the threat of Mosh. Even if you can't get it off, just the fact that Something Awful knows that ETC has it. They have to be careful. They have to play around it.
We cannot underestimate the psychological impact on a player knowing that an ult is available, knowing that there's a skill shot that's waiting for them. It changes things. When ETC zooms into your back line, you can't help but wonder, are we in the position for a mosh? Are they going to do it? Are they ready for the follow-up? Either way, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to find out as the match is beginning.
All right, so there we go. Something Awful. On the blue side, we have Fanaticism on Zool, McFaddy on Thrall, Cataract on Diablo, Kuros on Tyrande, and Not Chester on Rhaegar.
And on the red team, we've got Big Wiz, Dave LLD, Killjoy on the Uther, Warlink, and finally we've got Dirty D on the Sylvanas. The game begins, and we've got the red team moving down to bot, and blue on mid.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to take advantage of that Sylvanas and try to get an early tower snipe. But it looks like something awful is ready for it. Zul's already on his way down. They're not going to be able to save bottom tower, but looks like they're baiting them to try to stay in for top tower, but Armchair Elitists knows to leave. Diablo's going to jump in, grab the ATC. The root goes down.
Damage for it too.
Alright, so no kills. Armchair Elitists gets away with picking off that tower. It's a small XP boost, but it's also a big psychological boost. And always a good idea.
Not even a minute in. They already lost the bottom tower.
So we got Sylvanas going to stay solo in the bot lane. And let's see how Armchair Elitists are going to lane this. They're got the Uther solo top, and looks like he's going to switch out, or at least be helped by Tassadar.
Interesting, they put Uther and Tassadar in the same lane. Okay, we've got Uther moving. Okay, so we've got Tassadar solo laning.
And this makes sense. It's not the roaming gang squad I wanted, but you got the specialists on bottom, and the other sort of spaced out. So let's see which temple the team decided to go for. Armchair Elitists, or rather something awful, going to grab that vision and take control of mid. Something awful. Sorry, something awful is going to take control of mid. Armchair Elitists is going to take control of top. And the specialists are going to duke it out on bottom. Nothing too surprising for your first temple spawn of the game. But we do have a fight going on against this Thrall. Tracer doing work, not going to go down.
Right now, in spite of the unorthodox team from the Armchair group, where they've got a pretty standard setup right here. They're trading out top and mid temples, and we've got the bottom soak going on. Everybody's keeping relatively even. The Armchair Elitists are doing they're doing a good job so far. Everybody so far is.
So something awful has just a fraction of an XP lead, but that's nothing that in the grand scheme of things. But here comes Armchair Elitists looking for a big gank mid. There's the slide on Tyrande, the stun from Uther. Rhaegar's trying to keep Tyrande alive, and but the last attack actually does go down. Great gank by Armchair Elitists.
I gotta say though, that was pretty good by Rhaegar. That was a close one, very close.
I think he did all he could, but the rotation from Armchair Elitists, that's what can win these games. These strong rotations, they run down, you get a pick off. They didn't lose any experience, I don't think. And again, it keeps tempo, it keeps something awful on their toes, keeps them scared. Meanwhile, it looks like Zul is pushing Sylvanas back a little bit, but not much to speak of there. Sylvanas going to have to Hearth. It looks like Armchair Elitists has the communication going. Tassadar is heading down to pick up the slack, and they'll lose no soak because of it.
Still, we see Tracer on top, keeping a little conservative, moving back behind the towers, just letting the soak happen. Sylvanas is now right before 4. We're getting her to taking top bruisers in preparation for the next bottom temple.
Yep, that's I'm liking that timing. I think they're going to finish that maybe a little bit earlier than need to. I'd like to see them delay the cap on it until right before the temple spawns, but I'm glad that they're going for it. That'll give them a huge advantage if something awful doesn't do the same. But ETC getting picked off in the mid lane, he is going to get away, as will Tracer up top. A little scary for Armchair Elitists on both lanes, but
it's a little bad time for their tank to head back to the Nexus for a little bit of healing.
That's true, but alright, so it looks like Sylvanas might be planning on staying up top and pushing with this minion wave. I like it. I'm not against it at all, and especially she's keeping Diablo up there. That means big. Yeah, that means there's big. No tank for Something Awful. Something Awful does grab the Siege Giants. Here comes Sylvanas. Diablo is going to have to stay top to deal with that wave. Right. Alright, so Armchair Elitists do get on the point, putting ETC on there. Something Awful are trying to find their way in. They think better. I think they realize that without Diablo, it's going to be a very tough engage. Not only is it 5v4, but it's 5v4 without your tank. Actually, I apologize, it's 5v3. Zul's decided to go soak mid. So Something Awful decided to just give up on bottom temple. They'll soak all 3 lanes, try to get an XP lead. I like the call.
That was the right. Yep, I gotta agree with you. That was the right move. Diablo was never gonna make it bottom in time. He just had to stay top, protect the top fort, and just do what he can on top, pushing that lane.
Yep. I like the call, and I like the call from Armchair Elitists even more to recognize they're not coming to contest this. Let's send Tastar and Sylvanas out to lane. We don't all need to be here. So great job by Armchair Elitists there to recognize that they can split up safely and stay even with Soak. So despite losing that bottom temple, levels are basically even. Armchair Elitists are going to hit level 10 just a bit sooner. There it is. Let's see Something Awful. I want to see them avoid a fight before they hit 10. And as the ults come out, we've got Sticky Bomb on Tracer, Mosh, Divine Shield, Wailing Arrow. Tastar still waiting for to pick his ult. Might just be trying to stall it out.
No surprises so far.
Yep. And as Something Awful hits 10, again, no surprises. Sunder, Ancestral, Poison Nova from Zul, and Tyrande is also waiting. And there's the Force Wall from Tastar. I'm expecting... well, I wasn't expecting Starfall, although it makes sense. Yeah. They decided they've got 2 supports. They don't need Shadowstalk and Ancestral. So they decided to go with at least 1 damage ability. Tracer, a little bit of trouble here getting picked. But her recall, she does manage to get out of there.
Blew the Wailing Arrow on it, okay.
But kept her alive. Diablo looking for a kill. He wants more. He wants that Tracer. It's going a little deep, but he thinks better of it and backs off. Meanwhile, we've got an epic ETC Zul fight in the bottom. Come back to that in a bit. There's a pickoff on Sylvanas. She couldn't get the escape in time. Diablo managed to stun and kill her before she could get out. Great pickoff there, and they're gonna push the advantage as far as they can. And this is now Armchair Elitists are in the same problem that we were talking about before. Their tank is all the way bottom. Without ETC, it's so hard for them to engage or stay alive. Tracer getting picked off, but her recall is gonna keep her safe. She's trying to put in damage.
This top forward, I think. You know, I'd like to point out that, the pick for Starfall is going to help buttress up the damage that they otherwise wouldn't have had if they can pull off the Mosh Pit Divine Shield combo. Right now we've got Zul taking over bottom temple, and we've got Tassadar on top.
Armchair Elitists going to take the top structure. ETC still going to keep soaking mid. They want to hit 13 first, keep their level advantage ahead, keep Something Awful on their toes and make them afraid to fight. So as Something Awful all heads bottom, I think Armchair Elitists recognizes the threat of a boss, and they're going to keep an eye on that. It's a good heads-up play there. I would say this, I think I would have liked to see, if you're going to have only 1 support take the healing ult and 1 take the damage ult, I think I would have liked to see Shadowstalk on Tyrande and Bloodlust on Rhaegar, and maybe try to push that Thrall advantage.
You know, the Bloodlust would have been an interesting choice. You don't see it very often in the top level games, but I think it might have been a good choice for the double support.
Would have been interesting. Another thing to remember is that Zul is basically an auto-attack hero. Here comes... He couldn't get the Mosh off because Diablo got the stun. There's the APOC. Mosh is knocking back up for 5 seconds. Tracer went down in all of that fight. Wailing Arrow goes out, hits nobody. And ETC is stuck way in the back. He's going to go down. Rhaegar wants this Uther. They want the Tastar. The chase is on. They decide to back off and just take boss.
And now they're just taking boss. Okay, what a shot. I mean, you hate to see that ETC doing the shuffle back and forth, nowhere to go, nowhere to see.
And that was also
Divine
huge.
Shield, they need to get out of there.
That was also huge. Uther should not have been there. He's poking around. He wanted to see what was going on. Wanted to watch the boss get taken down. But Diablo scared him away. He was forced to pop Divine Shield. So now ETC's back up, but that's and Mosh is up, but that's 70 seconds. They don't have Divine. But while this is going on, something awful. They're going to let the boss and Diablo push bottom. The rest of the team pushes mid. I like that call. Get as much value out of this as they can. Try to get as much of a level lead as possible.
Here we see the bottom push.
Something off his game position. Looks like they want to try to make something happen. Gain some damage. ETC is caught out there. Oh, by the boss, and the tornado was keeping him from getting inside, but he manages to stay alive. That could have been disastrous. And Armchair, something awful. They are not going to push this too hard. They're going to get out. There's the mosh pit.
And there's the mosh.
Oh, but Divine was off, still on cooldown.
There's the stun, and still they're doing enough damage they can with the Starfall. Are we going to see?
That's huge.
Oh,
ETC is down. Uther is down. Tassadar is going to escape with an inch of his life.
Skin of his teeth. And here we're going to see the bottom keep.
Yep, that's definitely going to be bottom keep. Tassadar's going to have to Hearth. They're all going to have to Hearth. There's no one on the team that's alive that can do anything to stop this.
And there's 16.
And that's going to put Armchair Elitists on the back foot again. They're going to want to wait until they're 16 to fight, but there's 2 temples up. There's 2 temples up, and structure-wise, let's see where we are here. Well, actually, this is interesting. Both teams have 3 structures remaining, so Armchair Elitists could actually still trade out against something awful. No, they can't. I apologize.
See contest from mid. Able to chase the Diablo away as they move in to take over the mid temple.
Yep,
you know, they're down level and a half, but at least they're able to take over the mid temple.
Yeah.
Do what damage that they can.
Diablo's going inside, picks up the Uther. The root goes down from Zul. He's going to catch him, but there's going to be no follow-up. Tracer doing work on Diablo. He's going to get away with half health. And something awful is going to finish the bottom temple. This is what we were saying before, and I apologize, I misread the health on the structures. Because something awful is ahead on structures, they are more than happy to trade out. Armchair Elitists, from this point on, can't let that happen. The big thunder from Thrall, the root on Uther, the flip, the damage. ETC is trying to get in there to help, but he can't. There goes Uther. The Starfall slowing their attack. Tassadar gets caught in it. Tracer trying to get away, and the chase is on. Sylvanas is going to have to go down. He's managed to get away with a power slide, but something awful. They are on the attack. Are they going to push this for a fort? There they go, and again, they still have ETC. There's the big Mosh, but Tyrande's right there to stop it.
Tyrande once again. There's too much stun going on. Mosh without Divine Shield.
But he's going to go down from the Poison Nova. Sylvanas did get the Wailing Arrow out, but it was just too late. The stun was already out, and the Mosh was already stopped. So great communication and coordination on something awful's part to not let that Mosh do any damage. But they're going to back off. I like this as well. They're not going to push their advantage. They're not going to try to force core at this point, even though they could try to force it, but risk getting team wiped. They're just going to back off, heal up, and they have such a huge structure lead. They're just going to, if they can avoid fights and just take temples as they please, and the clock is on Armchair Elitists to make something happen here, and they've got to make something happen before something awful hits 20.
And here's what I like to see. We're talking about excellent teamwork, and we're talking about playing a conservative game. Nobody was rushing in when they shouldn't have.
Here goes Diablo, gets a flip, gets the attack on Tracer, but there's the recall, just as you were saying at the beginning. Tracer's recall, she makes her slippery.
We've got 1 temple up right now at 2-level advantage. They're not 20 yet, and they're not going to be able to soak, it looks like, when the temple comes active. This is still, could be anyone's game. With 1 good wipe, we could see a change of the tide of war.
It's very possible. And 1 temple, that's definitely going to work out in Armchair Elitists' favor, because as I said, they can't trade. They want a single objective at this point. Something awful would love to soak 20 before their next fight, and actually might be what Thrall's looking to do. Or he's coming up looking for the flank. ETC is deep. Diablo gets the charge. There's the root. The Unstoppable keeps him alive. And there's the Apocalypse going out. Lots of damage everywhere. Looks like they got their sights set on Uther. ETC is going down quickly. Thrall can't manage to do anything to that Tracer. And Armchair Elitists is backing away. I think they might be able to get out, although ETC doesn't want to. He wants to, and there's the Divine Shield. The stun from Tyrande, but the shields keep the members alive. But ETC, he tried to get in there. I think he was trying to peel for the team, trying to keep everyone alive, and he did manage to keep everyone but himself alive, except for Tracer, who was caught in the back.
I gotta mention, I don't understand it. Tracer was way in the back. She didn't have to be there. I think she could have moved a little bit backward, could have been to a more conservative position that we've seen Something Awful do. Still, I think this is a little bit tough. We've hit 20. I don't know if Armchair can come back from this.
It's going to be really tough. And there's the stun on Uther. The Wailing Arrows connects, but Sylvanas is down. And this is going to be the top keep. ETC is going to be up before Something Awful has a chance to push this. So I think the keep's going to go down from the temple. But it might not be game yet. There's ETC. He gets the stun on Rhaegar, but he's going to manage to get out. Nope, they want to stay in. Thrall's in, the Shrink Ray from Uther. There's the root on ETC. But at this point, I think it's all just posturing. Oh, the root down ETC again. Thrall getting some pot shots. Here comes Diablo.
We're looking at a 5v4 right now. Diablo will stop the flip and the charge.
There's a lot of damage going on Diablo, but there's the Ancestral is huge. The Poison Nova is doing so much damage. Tracer does not make it back to Hall of Storms. Divine Shield has to go on Uther. ETC got a huge mosh, but there was just no follow-up, and he goes down, and that is going to be it. A very well-played game by Something Awful. 13 kills to 1. Very well played. Very well indeed. You know.
Yep. This is what we're looking for. This was a great great effort on both parties. We saw a very interesting, dynamic, interesting team setup. With the Armchair team, and it was a good shot. Everybody did a great job. But I think at the end, we didn't quite see the game squad we were hoping to see rather, but so many stuns, so many roots. I mean, the damage that was going on. I mean, with the Zool Thrall combo from the beginning, it was a good composition, and Something Awful was able to make good use of it.
Yeah, and if we look at the hero damage, Thrall, of course, had the most on Something Awful with 42,000, but Diablo right behind him with 37,000, and Zool right behind him with 35,000. Whereas if we look on Armchair Elitists, Tracer had 45, most in the game. But then Sylvanas is next with 34. So you're seeing essentially 3 damage dealers, huge damage dealers, from Something Awful to just the 2 of Armchair Elitists. I think that was the difference. Armchair Elitists just couldn't get the damage in, couldn't capitalize on that mosh when they were able to get it off. And Something Awful, the double support, was able to just keep everybody alive and let that damage go. But great game from both players. And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, this was a great game, and I look forward to seeing both teams again in the Chair League and seeing what they can accomplish as time goes on. Because again, I think we have to point out that on both sides there was excellent communication, and both teams were able to get the proper ganks going, move out properly, move together as a tank. I like the timing that was going on that we saw with the Bruisers. We saw the excellent